Mr. President, I've come to this floor over 110 different times to introduce to the Senate and to the people who follow our proceedings remarkable people who live in the shadows of America. These are dreamers, children who were brought to this country by their parents, some at the age of 2 or 3, brought into this country perhaps on a visitor's visa and stayed, grew up in America, and then when they were 10 or 12 in most cases, their mother and father sat down and said, "We need to tell you the truth about who you are and where you are." These children are undocumented. Their parents didn't file the necessary legal papers. They live lives without a country. They've grown up here. They always believed they were Americans, went to our schools, stood every day in class and pledged allegiance to that flag. They really believed that they were part of America, but legally, no. They were dreamers. I've tried for 17 years now to pass legislation to give them a chance to earn their way to legal status and citizenship. I've had some luck from time to time, but we've never quite been able to find the necessary votes in both the House and the Senate in the same year. A number of years ago, I appealed to my former Senate colleague, Barack Obama, and asked President Obama to do what he could to help these dreamers. He created a program called DACA by executive order. And under DACA, these young people could come forward, submit themselves to a criminal background check, pay a filing fee, and be protected from deportation for 2 years at a time. They had to renew this, so if there was any problem, they could lose their protection. That DACA program finally brought 790,000 Americans, people who lived in America, out of the shadows for the protection of DACA. Initially, we thought new President Trump was going to give these young DACA recipients a break. He said a lot of kind things about them, even though his rhetoric about immigration has been very harsh. He said good things about them because he realized, as all of us do, that many of them are the victims of unfairness and injustice, and that they should be given a chance to prove themselves and be part of America's future. But then on September 5th of last year, President Trump reversed himself. He announced that he was eliminating DACA, eliminating the protection these young people had. He challenged Congress, said, "Come up with a law that protects DACA and dreamers." I accepted the challenge, so did Lindsey Graham, Republican of South Carolina. We put together a team of 6 senators, 3 Democrats and 3 Republicans, and worked for months to come up with an alternative which would protect the dreamers, protect those who were under the DACA program. I think it was a good proposal. I think it was balanced. Parts of it I didn't like. Parts of it I did. That's the nature of a political compromise. It was bipartisan. We took it to President Trump and he rejected it. Just rejected it. And there we were, empty-handed, coming to the floor of the Senate a few weeks ago for 4 different votes to try to solve the DACA crisis. None of our proposals passed. The one with the most votes was the one that Senator Graham and I worked on, that Senator Coons and Senator Rounds brought to the floor. It even included the president's wall. Some of us think this is a crazy idea, a waste of taxpayers' dollars, but we were prepared to say to the president, if you will give 1.8 million of these dreamers a path to citizenship, we will at least start building your wall, one that was supposed to be paid for by Mexico. President Trump rejected it. Rejected it. And so March 5th came and went. The deadline for DACA ended, and protection under DACA started disappearing. There were court suits that were brought. 2 federal courts stepped in and issued injunctions and said to the president, stop the threat of deportation against these DACA-protected young people. 2 of those injunctions now stand, and under those, our federal government, the Department of Homeland Security, is allowing those who were once protected by DACA to renew their status. Now, of course, those who are newly eligible, for instance, reaching the age of 15, which is the age of eligibility, can't sign up. But if you were protected, the 790,000 protected, you can renew your DACA protection by these court orders. So how long are these young people going to be protected? We don't know. That court protection could end next week, next month, 6 months from now. We just don't know. So they live in absolute uncertainty, with the danger that at any minute DACA protection ends and they can be deported. When I've come to the floor to tell their stories, people understand that these young people are extraordinary. Think about growing up as a teenager and all the uncertainty and challenges and things that come to your life. Imagine doing that with the knowledge that at any minute you could be deported, or some misstep by you might deport your entire family. That's what these young people have grown up with. And yet they are determined, they are resilient, and some of them are nothing short of amazing in what they've done with their lives. I've come to the floor to tell their stories so that you can attach a face to the issue. And DACA isn't just another government program. It turns out to be something that is significant in their lives. And today I want to tell another one of those stories about another one of these dreamers. This lovely young lady here is Gloria Rinconi. Gloria Rinconi is the 113th dreamer that I've had the honor to introduce to the Senate and to those who follow our proceedings. Gloria was brought to the United States at the age of 1 from Mexico. She grew up in North Carolina and in Texas. Her family had so little money that at one point her parents slept on the floor of a trailer. Gloria slept on a makeshift bed made out of a piece of cardboard and a blanket. Gloria's parents told her she was undocumented, but, quote, "You are loved by many, regardless of what you might hear on TV." Her family was poor, but Gloria was a hard worker and an extraordinarily good student. In high school, she took the advanced placement courses and was a member of the National Technical Honor Society. She received the Tyler Independent School District Student Award. She was active in extracurricular activities, worked on the school yearbook, member of the French Club, Pom Squad, drill prep. She competed in pageants, winning the National American Miss State pageant and the National American Miss National pageant. Gloria graduated from high school with a medical assistant program certification. She's attending Richland College, majoring in psychology. She also works as a medical assistant for a surgeon. Her dream is to become a clinical psychologist and work with low-income families facing mental health issues. Gloria, this lovely, amazing young lady, sent me a letter. And here's what she said: "DACA is my entire life. It's the only thing I have that allows me to work, give back to my community, and continue with my future plans. Without it, my life as I know it will be gone." Mr. President, this is what the DACA debate and the DREAM Act debate is all about. It's all about the aspirations and hopes of amazing, talented, dedicated young people who just want to be part of America's future. Would we be better if we ended up deporting this young lady, sending her back to Mexico, a place she's probably never even visited in her entire life since she came here at the age of 1? I don't think so. And I think everyone understands that a young person like this deserves a chance. We now face the possibility that DACA protection through court order may protect those who are already under DACA from deportation, but may not protect them for some period of time and allow them to work. Because that's the second part of DACA. You can legally work in the United States. A lot of them have graduated college and do work today. I've met doctors and lawyers, engineers, teachers. There's some 20,000 teachers across America who are protected by DACA and allowed to work. What President Trump has said recently is it's over. As far as he's concerned, they should be deported. I hope that his position does not prevail. I hope for Gloria's sake and for the thousands just like her that we will do the right thing, the just and fair thing, that we will do something immediately to provide DACA protection and protection to dreamers and a path to citizenship. How did we get into this crisis? President Trump's decision, September 5th, 2017, to end DACA, created the crisis we face. We need to work toward a solution. The president has rejected 6 bipartisan proposals. I don't know what it will take to bring him around. I'm skeptical now of any statements that he'd make publicly, that he wants to solve this problem. But I also know that we face, as Gloria faces every day, the uncertainty for these young people. I urge my colleagues on both sides, don't quit on this issue. Don't quit on these young people. Every time I go home and meet with these dreamers, it's an emotional meeting. Few of them can tell me their life stories without breaking down in tears. And then when they mention their parents, who have been vilified by some, these young DACA recipients break down in tears as well. They say to me, Senator, wouldn't you have done everything in your power to help your children, even if it meant breaking a law? Yes, I'm sure I would have. Should their parents pay a price? Well, under comprehensive immigration reform, we had a fine that they had to pay. We delayed any eligibility they had to become citizens, but we didn't deport them and break up their families. If they had no criminal record or no difficulties and problems, we gave them a chance. Not amnesty, a price had to be paid, but a chance to become part of the future of America as well. This issue is not over because we have failed in the Senate. The issue is still there. The question is whether senators from both political parties can summon the courage to solve this problem. Mr. President, I yield the floor and suggest the absence of a quorum.